In this video I'm going to discuss the Nikon 24-200mm super zoom lens for the Nikon Z series, and I'm going to ask you a simple question. Do you think a super zoom lens could improve your landscape photography? Now here's a spoiler alert. For me, this lens has been nothing short of a game changer. I've owned the Nikon 24-200mm super zoom lens for a couple of weeks now, and hopefully these photos will demonstrate exactly why I decided to buy a super zoom. Now I did have that question in my mind of whether I was actually going to sacrifice image quality by using a super zoom lens. And the obvious answer is yes, I am. It's going to happen. But in reality, you don't notice any serious lacks in image quality. Yes, it's a little bit softer at 24mm, but hopefully these photos do demonstrate that it's a very sharp lens. And I'm not afraid to use it for virtually all of my landscape photography now. So the 24-200mm lens will cover those really important focal lengths you need for landscape photography, all within one lens. And you just cannot underestimate the flexibility that will give you. Now I've lost count of the times over the years where I've missed shots because I've been like changing from lens. You know, I've put the 24-70 on, I need 70-200, I switch, oh no, I need the 24-70. And you know, you're playing this yo-yo act of going backwards and forwards, and all the time you're missing shots. Now I can just use a 24-200 and simply just turn the zoom, and bang, I can go from 24 straight to 200 and take the shot. Flexibility is the key here. This lens will mean less missed shots, and surely that has to be a good thing, especially if you're a photographer who likes to hike. Honestly, this lens was made for exploring, and as it's such a nice sunny evening in Northumberland, I think we should go for a walk and see exactly what this lens can do. Now I'm particularly enjoying using this lens handheld. It's nice to be able to walk around and to literally have the camera at the side, pull it out, take a shot, with focal length covering 24-200mm, which is absolutely amazing really. Of course, it's not a fat lot of good if all your shots are going to come out shaky or have motion blur. And of course there is that downside of it being quite a slow lens, aperture wise, so it's not very good in low light, and autofocus particularly struggles in low light. But it's nothing that a landscape photographer can't work around. Really the key is to know its limitations, and the only way you know the limitations of a lens is by actually using it. Coming out, like here, glorious Northumberland, coming out with it and trying it. I wouldn't hesitate on taking this out as the only lens and camera body combination. Not for a moment. It's brilliant, it's really good. So I'm approaching my destination for tonight's shoot, but to be honest, I've got my doubts. But that's fine. And I'll tell you why it's fine, because I don't have to carry a ridiculously heavy bag all the way up the hills. So I've reached my destination, and now I'm just hoping that the sun's going to come out. I've composed a shot. It's quite simple. I like these rocks, so it's, for some bizarre reason, it reminds me of like Devil's Marbles in Australia. But it needs some light, and I've never had much luck in this location. And I'm looking now towards the Shevious Hills, and it's not looking great. But fingers crossed. Okay, quick change of plan. Now have a fleece on. Stops those midges biting my arms. I've noticed that looking in the opposite direction, there's a bit of light on the hill, so I'm going to take a shot. I've got the lens 200mm now. So I'm just going to go, and fingers crossed, I'll put the shot up now. Hopefully it's okay. Well, it's not going to win any awards, but again, it's a shot I simply wouldn't have got without carrying this lens really. I could have carried two zooms, but the reality is I probably wouldn't have changed, because I've got my mind set on the shot behind me. But the fact I could just swing round and put it on 200mm and set it to DX mode and get a bit of pull on it, you know, it's worth taking. I'm going to take it again, the light's looking a little bit more interesting. You know, and I'll keep an eye on that. And then if the sun does come back out on my main viewpoint, I'll just swing the camera back round, take it out to DX mode, and I'll just be back to about 50mm and hopefully get the shot. So while I'm waiting for the light, which may or may not appear, it's not looking great. I'd really like to finish this video with a lovely shot at the end. Whether it's going to happen, I don't know. But that's the nature of landscape photography. And it sort of goes to prove the theory of carrying one lens, a 24-200mm lens, because you can adapt. So okay, I'm on a tripod now, so really it's not the end of the world. But imagine if I was walking and then all of a sudden the light changed and you've got a split second and you want to isolate some details. 200mm or around there, and you're good to go, you know, you're getting somewhere close. So I started this video asking you a simple question. Could a super zoom improve your landscape photography? Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure, it won't make you a worse photographer. Perhaps technically your images won't be quite as good, perhaps. Not that anybody's going to ever notice, apart from you. So should you buy the 24-200mm super zoom lens? Simple answer, if you're a pixel peeper, probably not. But if you're more concerned about the image, the actual final photograph, than looking at your screen at 200% to see how sharp the lens is, if you're more worried about the content of your photo, then I find it really hard to not recommend this lens. It's a great lens, it's very flexible. You know, something I haven't actually mentioned is it actually can focus quite close at 200mm, which means it's also quite good for sort of semi-macro shots. You know, obviously it's not going to replace a macro lens, but it still has a place in your bag. It's a good all-rounder. It's a good Swiss Army knife of lenses. You can produce nice shots with it, and you can enjoy your photography more because you're concentrating on the image as opposed to concentrating on what lenses you may need to be using and thinking, have I packed the right lenses? And then realising that you didn't pack the right lenses and you've left your 70-200mm at home because you wanted to travel light, but you really wish you had it now. So I suppose, you know, if you're using a high resolution body, yes, you could crop it down, but then you're losing pixels. So surely at that point, having a 24-200mm and using all the pixels makes far more sense, because your image quality is going to be better. So back to the question of, will there be a drop in image quality by using a super zoom? The answer is probably no. Unless you're the kind of photographer that works from your car and just grabs what you need for that shoot and goes back to your car. But if you're somebody who likes walking to places like this, which I love doing, then really it's a no-brainer. Don't you just love summer nights in Northumberland? If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, please do consider pressing the like button and subscribing to the channel.